Thank you, Walter. Next speaker is Pat Wright.
Pat Wright, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good. I find this a bit confusing. Anyway, I gotta wait. I'm not handling that, am I? Anyway, can you bring up the presentation again? And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address. And did I lose it, or am I still here?
AGP, can you bring up Pat Wright's presentation, please?
Okay, thank you. Anyway, I wanted to talk about ferrets in California. It's a very simple issue. Can you click the next slide, please? In California, they're considered wild animal, which has been defined loosely as any animal which is not normally domesticated as determined by the Fish and Game Commission. Can you click the next slide, please? And but science says that they're domestic, and I really challenge anyone to say otherwise. The proof is that they are a domestic animal. Next slide, please. Okay, and if you Google this issue at all, you'll find a lot of scientific studies that say ferrets are domestic, and the domestication is a process, and domestic ferrets, even in the name, meet it. Next slide, please. Even the FDA determines or labels them as domestic, saying they were domesticated 2,500 years ago. Next slide, please. And here's the hard part. This California Civil Code says that there may be ownership of all yada, 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 including domestic animals. And what we don't understand is why this law has been ignored, and being under property rights, doing a blanket outlaw on ferrets and declaring them wild animals violates our rights. Can we have the next slide, please? And President Sklar told me years ago that we had to do CEQA because the environmentalists would sue them. And the real reason ferrets are illegal is because of the political pressure from the Sierra Club. Now, this is a third-hand quote, so take it with a grain of salt, but the underlying figure is that they are against ownership. And PETA, which heavily influenced the Humane Society, declares pet ownership animal slavery and wishes to discourage the concept of pet ownership. Next slide, please. But we've done the reports, misconceptions. Ferrets have never established in the wild in the US, and never been able to do this. Next slide, please. So we are asking the Fish and Game Commission, you're here to protect our rights, not to thwart them. So I know we've brought this issue up to you many times before, but I think doing the right thing is to be honest. I mean, bumblebees are not fish, and domestic ferrets are not wild. And we wish to ask you to do the right thing and reclassify them as the domestic animals they are. Truth should win out. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Sherry, could you call any other speakers?